जे अनिल प्रेम धन करुणा प्रचुर जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदन ब्रजजनरंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रजजनरंजन यमुनातीरावनचारी यमुनातीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय विश्वपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्रीमद् अभय चरणारविंद भक्त वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की, समवेत भक्त वृंद की, गौर प्रेमानंदे। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, Chapter 15, Description of the Kingdom of God, Text 28. मत्तादिरेप वनमालिकया निवीतो मत्तादिरेप वनमालिकया निवीतो विन्यस्तयासीतचतुस्तया बाहुमध्ये विन्यस्तयासीतचतुस्तया बाहुमध्ये वक्त्रं भ्रुवाकुटिलया स्फुटनिर्गमाभ्याम् रक्ते क्षणेन चमनाघ्रवसं दधानो मत्तादिरेप वनमालिकया निवीतो विन्यस्तयासीतचतुष्टया बाहुमध्ये वक्त्रं भ्रुवाकुटिलया स्फुटनिर्गमाभ्याम् रक्तेक्षणेन च मनाग्रवसं दधानो मत्तधिरेपवनमालिकया निवीतो भिन्नस्तया शीतचतुष्टया बाहुमध्ये वक्त्रं भ्रुवाकुटिलया स्फुटनिर्गमाभ्याम् रक्तेक्षणेन च मनाग्रवसं दधानो Word to word meaning, translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam tato jayo madiraye matta intoxicated dvi repa bees bana malikaya with a garland of fresh flowers nivito hanging on the neck Binnastaya placed around Asita blue Chatustaya 4 Bahu hands Madhye between Bhaktram face Bhruva with their eyebrows Kotilaya arched Sputa snorting Nirgamabhyam breathing Rakta reddish Ikshanena with eyes Cha and Manak somewhat Rabhasam agitated Dadhano glanced over. Translation. The two doormen were garlanded with fresh flowers which attracted intoxicated bees and which were placed around their necks and beautiful between their 4 blue arms. From their arched eyebrows, discontent nostrils and reddish eyes, they appeared somewhat agitated. Please repeat after me. The two doormen were garlanded with fresh flowers, which attracted intoxicated bees, and which were placed around their necks and between their 4 blue arms. From their arched eyebrows, discontent nostrils and reddish eyes, they appeared somewhat agitated. For their garlands attracted swarms of bees because they were garlands of fresh flowers. In the Vaikuntha world, everything is fresh, new and transcendental. The inhabitants of Vaikuntha have bodies of bluish color and 4 hands like Narayan. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Paschat Deshatarine Panchakalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhaivacha Patitanang Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So we have been discussing this section of Srimad Bhagavatam. It's a discussion between Lord Brahma and the demigods. When 4 Kumaras, they came back from the Vaikuntha planets, Lord Brahma is giving the description to the demigods. So when 4 Kumaras, they were traveling to Vaikuntha planets and they met this doorman Jai and Vijay, and that description is going on here. So Prabhupada gave a very small and short purport. Prabhupada is saying when these 4 Kumaras, they went to spiritual world after crossing the 6 entrances of Vaikuntha planet, they finally arrived in front of 7th gate. And these 2 doormen, Jai and Vijay, they stopped them and in this verse is saying Raktesh Tikshanena chamanag rabasam dadhano. So they were quite agitated by seeing these four Kumaras, that they came without permission here. So, and also when four Kumaras they saw these two doormen, they were garlanded with fresh flowers. And the description is given that, which attracted even intoxicated bees. So Prabhupada says in the spiritual world everything is fresh, transcendental and new. Katha ganam natyam gamanamopi. So everything is fresh, ever fresh in the spiritual world or anything related to Krishna. Like, Bhagavad Gita and other wonderful instructions of Krishna. It's always ever fresh. Every time we read, we find something new. The same verse, if we read after 10 years, we'll get new realization. It appears like it's so fresh. Especially when you listen from the realized devotees, self-realized soul, then all the verses of Bhagavad Gita and other instructions of Krishna appears new every time. That was actually Sandipani Muni, he gave that benediction to Krishna, and Krishna rescued Sandipani Muni's son who lost in the ocean. So Krishna wanted to give some Guru Dakshina. And after his study was completed, 64 days of study, Krishna, Sudama and Balaram. But Sandipani Muni says, I don't need any Guru Dakshina from you. You became my disciple, that is best Guru Dakshina for me. What can be best Guru Dakshina than this? But I want some blessings from you, my dear spiritual master. But Sandipani Muni was not willing to give any blessings to Krishna. But when Krishna insisted, Sandipani Muni says, okay, I am giving you this special benediction that whatever you will speak, that will remain ever fresh. That will never get old, So, whatever Krishna speaks, everything is ever fresh, always remains same, And that's why since time immemorial is going on, Krishna told Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita, Imam Vivashyati Yogam. The Arjuna, same knowledge, the same message of Bhagavad Gita I have imparted to Sun God Vivaswan in the beginning of creation. I am repeating you the same thing. It's not changing because it remains ever fresh, it never gets old. And that's why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Jnanam te aham sa vijnanam. This is Vijnan. Vijnan means fact which you can't change. But nowadays Vijnan, they are changing every day. So-called modern science, they are changing every day, but they are calling it Vijnan. This is real Vijnan. It's ever fresh. So, in the modern science means like we have studied in college, university, that every moment the changes, they come up with some new theory. And their theories are full of faults. And we have studied in school, college, universities that write down the theory of, for example, Newton or Einstein. And also write down what are the defects on that theory. Isn't it? Remember? The shortcomings on that theory. So someone who has fault in his theory, and for writing faults you will get mark. That is called science, If you can find more faults, you will get more marks in the exam. And if you can prove he is completely wrong, you will get Nobel Prize. Isn't it? That's what they do. So, but no one can, prove that Krishna is wrong. Whatever Krishna spoke, and Prabhupada says, when a great sages, the brilliant sages, Narad Muni, Asita, Devala, Vyasa, Krishna spoke in Bhagavad Gita. They accepted Krishna's words. And no one can find even a small defect in Krishna's words. Because it remains ever fresh, it's transcendental and new, as Prabhupada says, So that's why Krishna told Imam Vivaswata Yogam, the same thing I am repeating to you. So it remains ever fresh, especially when we hear from the realized soul. So sometimes, when you hear same topic repeatedly, body, soul, material world, spiritual world, and then a devotee feels bored, Prabhu, you want to hear something new. Isn't it? Nothing is new. At the same time, everything is new. Isn't it? Here Prabhupada is saying transcendental, new and fresh. anything about Krishna. So everything is new. We can't, manufacture new topic. The topic is same. Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam and other scriptures. But realization should be new. So, that's why he is saying everything is fresh in the spiritual world. And especially these, two doormans, Jai and Bijay, they were, they had fresh flower, garland made with fresh flowers. The description is Matta Direpa. And Matta means intoxicated. Dvirepa. Dvirepa, bees, bumblebees. They became attracted to the garlands of the Jai Bijay. And they became intoxicated, the bees. It's so fresh, so powerful. So, therefore Prabhupada is saying everything is fresh, nothing gets old, nothing gets rotten in the spiritual world, everything is fresh. So, like, a description of Ajamil's first time when Yamadutas came to take Ajamil. And then Vishnudutas also came, 4 Vishnudutas and 3 Yamadutas came. The descriptions was giving the features of Yamadutas and Vishnudutas. So with Yamadutas, they are looking so ugly, they are not wearing proper dress, not clean, unclean, But descriptions of Vishnudutas given, they are so fresh, looking so brilliant, effulgent. So then Prabhupada spoke about cleanliness. We are also Vishnudutas. And those who are chanting the holy name of the Lord, those who are spreading the holy name of the Lord, they are actually Vishnudutas. That's what Narad Muni does. Narad Muni bajai bina Radhika Ramana name. So that's what we in Krishna consciousness movement, we are doing same thing. So Vishnudutas, they should maintain, first class cleanliness. Then they will look fresh. So Prabhupada used to say, cleanliness is next to godliness. Famous statement of Srila Prabhupada, isn't it? When Sanatana Goswami, he escaped from jail and he came to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Varanasi. So it was almost 1 month long journey. Sanatana Goswami came to meet, so he could not take bath properly, because that was on the forest, and he could not shave himself properly. He was not clean properly. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he saw Sanatana Goswami, he became extremely pleased by seeing Sanatana Goswami, because finally he could make it. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went tightly embraced also. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not happy by seeing Sanatana Goswami unclean. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, go and become Bhadra. You are looking Abhadra. Abhadra means you are not looking civilized. You are not looking clean. So Sanatana Goswami then went to the bank of Ganges. And Sanatana Goswami shaved himself, he kind of changed his cloth, which was very dirty, and he took a new cloth. And when he came, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very happy. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu extremely happy. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is showing that the devotee should look very fresh, clean. Of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not 100% happy with him, because he was wearing a special chadar. That is, that was made with a special, very, very expensive thread, that was very expensive cloth. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was looking towards his special chadar. And Sanatana Goswami understood, I got fresh, I shaved myself, I shaved my head, everything is fine. But still Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not happy, something is wrong with me. Then he realized, because Sanatana Goswami, he gave up everything. His wealth, his post, Takta Turanam Ashesha Mandala Prati, he gave up everything. Now he is attached to one simple chadar. Then he realized, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he didn't like this. So he again went to the bank of Ganga, and he saw a poor man. He had a loin cloth, very torn cloth. He says, can we exchange? And I said, you are joking with me? Who will give $100 chadar, and in return they will take $2 chadar? No one will take. So please help me. I want to give you this expensive chadar and give me this old chadar. And then when he came back, that time Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was extremely happy. So even till last attachment, if you don't give up, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will not be completely happy. Mahaprabhur Bhaktasha Vairagya Pradhan. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's devotee, their first symptom, their most important quality is Vairagya Pradhan. They are renunciate. Jaha dekhe khushihan gaur Bhagavan. And by seeing the detachment and renunciation of his devotees, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu feels very happy. That is only one thing we can make Chaitanya Mahaprabhu happy, if we develop detachment, renunciation for the material things. Vairagya Viddha Nija Bhakti Yogam. He came to teach this renunciation. So anyway, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then taught, cleanliness is very important. See, Prabhupada says two types of cleanliness, that is external and internal. External cleanliness means to clean our body, to take bath, to shave ourselves, to have neat and clean clothes. And internal is Chetu Darpana Marjam, chanting of the holy name of the Lord. But that is of course most important, internal cleanliness through chanting. But since we are not chanting purely, sometimes external cleanliness is also important. That gives effect to our internal consciousness. See, Prabhupada, at his advanced age, if you see the picture, Prabhupada was so clean, neat and clean. Every time, fresh cloth, fresh, and he was shaved head. Every time he was so neat and clean. So that's why it's quite important, because the four pillars of religion, that is Satya, Shocha, Tapo, Daya. So these four pillars of religion breaks when we indulge in four sinful activities: meditating, gambling, intoxication, and illicit sex. Which sinful activity breaks which pillar of religion? Satya breaks by doing what? Gambling. And Shocha, cleanliness, illicit sex. And Tapasya, austerity, intoxication. And Daya, mercy, meditating. Now, see, this cleanliness, the principle, one of the pillar of religion, that is cleanliness. The cleanliness breaks when we indulge in illicit sex or illicit sexual activities, illicit activities. Now it's it goes in opposite direction also. If someone who is not clean, he will develop attraction for illicit activities. It works oppositely also. Whoever is indulged in illicit activities, they will remain unclean. So cleanliness has a relationship with illicit activities. That's why it's very important to maintain proper cleanliness. So that's why external and internal cleanliness both are important. Like Prabhupada once, I think Harish Prabhu was telling, Prabhupada is so neat and clean that Prabhupada used to, for some time, Prabhupada used to, keep one bead bag for each day. The next day he would change another bead bag. So he was so neat and clean, And Prabhupada was in, Mumbai, and on that Pandal program. One man was sitting next to Prabhupada from Arabian country, Muslim guy, he came. And he was chanting, the Muslim, they chants on their bead. So Prabhupada saw that. And Prabhupada said, what are you doing? And he said that, I am chanting the name of Allah. And he asked, what you all do? And Prabhupada took his bead bag. He says, we do like this, but we cover our bead. So you should better cover your bead, because otherwise it will become dirty. The bead bag, isn't it? So that's why it's very important to remain fresh, neat and clean. And here it says their garlands, the Jai Bijay's garlands, it was so fresh, it was made with fresh flowers, that even bumblebees, they became attracted, they became intoxicated. And now what to speak of other objects of the spiritual world, they're so fresh. Just like it reminds me another first time, Srimati Radharani was with Krishna. There is a place in Vrindavan. It's in between Nandagram and Barsana. So Krishna and Radharani used to meet on that place almost every day. That was kind of common meeting place of Srimati Radharani and Krishna. So one day Srimati Radharani, she was sitting on the lap of Krishna. And Krishna's associates, the cowherd boys, they were there, and all the cowherd gopis, they were also there. So the gopis, gopas, and Krishna, Radharani. So Radharani's beauty is so attractive that when Radharani was sitting with Krishna, some bumblebees came. They are roaming around Radharani's face. And Radharani felt disturbed. So, like here it says, fresh garlands, the bumblebees became attracted. You see the personalities there, they are even fresh, even more attractive, So Radharani was sitting with Krishna and bumblebees came and roaming around Radharani's face. And Radharani felt disturbed. Radharani is so beautiful. The bumblebees are attractive. Here is saying, even bumblebees are attracted to fresh flowers. Prabhupada actually once says that you all are attracted to the beautiful ladies of your country. But you don't know, ladies of, in heaven themselves, they are even more beautiful. And they are the expansion of the great ladies of heaven, Sachi, Arundhati. And those Sachi, Arundhati, although they are beautiful, but they are also expansion of Lakshmi Devi. Lakshmi Devi is even more beautiful. And Lakshmi Devi, although she is very beautiful, attractive, but Lakshmi Devi is the expansion of the queens of Dwaraka. They are even more beautiful. And the queens of Dwaraka, Rukshmini and Satyabhama, although they are beautiful, but actually the gopis of Vrindavan, Lalita, Vishakha Devi, they are even more beautiful. And gopis of Vrindavan, more than them is Srimati Radharani. So all of them are expansion of Srimati Radharani. And Prabhupada said, see how beautiful Srimati Radharani is. So those bumblebees, they're roaming around Radharani's face, and Radharani felt disturbed. And she was sitting close to Lord Krishna, and all the gopis, they were around. So Krishna noticed that Radharani was feeling disturbed because of the bumblebees. So Krishna told his, friends, sakhas, please, get rid of, these bumblebees. So they took some leaves, took some sticks, and, trunk of the trees. They are trying to get rid of those bumblebees who are disturbing Srimati Radharani. So finally, after some time, all the gopas, they took that, bumblebees away from that place. So no more bumblebees. So then when Krishna asked all those gopas, so is Madhu left? So in bees in Sanskrit is a Madhu or Madhumakhi in Hindi. So Madhu left? Madhu means bumblebees. Those who drinks honey. So when Krishna asked all the gopas, is Madhu left? Madhu, that bumblebee left. So Radharani heard that word. She thought Madhu means Madhusudan. Madhusudan left. So although Krishna indicated that Madhu means a honeybee, bumblebee, but Radharani thought it's actually Madhusudan. So Radharani thought Madhusudan left. And she started to crying. Although she is sitting on the lap of Madhusudan, Krishna. That is called love, When one moment of separation, So that is the position of Srimati Radharani. And she felt, Madhusudan left me. He was with me some time back. And she started to crying. The tears were flowing incessantly from her eyes. And Krishna could not understand. Krishna was shocked that I am sitting next to Radharani and that much of love Radharani has for me. And Radharani is crying, oh, Madhu left, Madhusudan left, what will happen to me now? And I will not be able to see Madhusudan. And Radharani started to crying. And Krishna, could not understand what to do. Krishna felt, that much, that is the love, amount of love Radharani has for me. And Krishna started to crying. And that much Srimati Radharani loves me. And when Radharani and Krishna, both of them are crying. Why they are crying? Because Madhusudan left. But Madhusudan is still there. And all the cowherd boys, all the gopas of Krishna, they started to crying. And by seeing them, all the gopis, they started to crying. So everyone on that place, everyone started to crying because Krishna left, but Krishna is there. And from the tears of their eyes, Gopa Gopis and Radha Krishna, that pond came, the Sarovar lake, that is called Prem Sarovar, because of the love for Krishna. And it says, anyone who takes a deep on that Sarovar, they will immediately get Krishna Prema. So powerful, So that much Radharani used to love. And why we were discussing, because Radharani was so beautiful. So beautiful that even bumblebees roam around Radharani's face. So what to speak of these fresh flowers of the spiritual world. So here Prabhupada is saying that all the in the spiritual world, in Vaikuntha planet, everything is fresh, new and transcendental. Nothing gets old in the spiritual world. And especially, and also the description comes of the bodies of the Vishnu Dutas. It was bluish color, and they looks like 4 hands like Narayan. Prabhupada says in the purport. So therefore, in Vaikuntha planets, especially, the devotees, even they don't desire to go to Vaikuntha planets, because everyone looks similar. Swarupya, they look similar, form similar, they have 4 arms, everything is there. Like the Gopa Kumar, Brihad Bhagavatamrita, he went to Vaikuntha, and he was not happy at all, because he didn't see any variety there. Everyone looks same. Everyone looks like Vishnu. Everyone looks like 400. Everyone not looks like, everyone has 4 armed. So he was not happy, So that's why he came down to this material world and he went to Golak Vrindavan. Krishna, 2 armed from Sam Shundar from. So in Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna displayed his Vishwarupa. So Arjuna, although he wanted to see Krishna's Vishwarupa, but Arjuna was not interested internally to see Krishna's Vishwarupa, and then later 4 armed form. Therefore Arjuna told Krishna, my dear Lord, I want to see you Saumya Rupam. Saumya Rupam means 2 armed, beautiful form, Shyama Sundar, like human-like form. There is a difference between Vaikuntha and Golok Vrindavan. In Vaikuntha, there love is mixed with opulences. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Ashwarya Bhave Prem Hai Shithil. So when love is mixed with Ashwarya, opulence, then love will not be intense. Like the gopis and gopas, they have love for Krishna in Golok Vrindavan. That is very deep and intense. They can't feel a separation for a moment, like we just saw in Srimati Radharani. But in Vaikuntha, that is different mellow, and everyone bows down before. Whenever Lord Vishnu comes, he enters into any assembly, everyone bows down. So their love is mixed with opulences, and their love is full of awe and reverences. But in Vrindavan, they don't care about that, isn't it? They don't care about that, Mata more putra gyane kare alingan. So it says, in Vrindavan, no one cares about Krishna. They don't even consider Krishna as Lord. That is the difference between Vaikuntha and Vrindavan. Like when Krishna lifted Govardhan, and all the residents of Vrindavan, especially the elderly people, the 4 brothers of Nanda Maharaj, everyone, they had a meeting in Nandagram. They organized a meeting. So on that meeting they said, this Krishna little boy, he is not an ordinary boy. We should not treat him like ordinary boy, like other Brajavasis. He is different. He is definitely either part of demigods or part of Supreme Lord. Then they called Nanda Baba and Yashoda Maya. They called in the meeting. They said, you see, you can't chastise Krishna. Every time we see you both are chastising Krishna. He is not ordinary boy. See, he lifted Govardhan, 21 kilometers Govardhan. So they were chastising because the Nanda Maharaj's elder brothers were there. In fact, they were chastising Nanda Maharaj. You can't chastise Krishna like this. He's Lord. Or he's not an extra, he has extraordinary power. So when everyone spoke, and Nanda Maharaj started to speak. If you are finished, can I say something? Nanda Maharaj is saying, you are saying, our son Krishna is Supreme Lord, he is demigod, he has extraordinary power. But tell me, if you are saying he is Supreme Lord, does Supreme Lord ever speaks lie? From his childhood he is speaking lie every time. How come you call him Supreme Lord? Does Supreme Lord steal some other property? From his childhood every time he is stealing others' property. Even after stealing he is telling lie. So then they said, whatever philosophy you give me, I will not believe in his Supreme Lord. He is our son. And we will chastise him therefore. So that is a love of a difference between Vaikuntha and Vrindavan. So Prabhupada gave example, the Vaikuntha, difference between Vaikuntha and spiritual. Krishna is same. He gave the example of Supreme Court judge. The judge in Supreme Court, he may be very powerful. He can control so many lawyers and he gives order. But at home, his mother sometimes takes his ear, hold his ear, come sit for prasadam. So, and then Prabhupada says, that one lawyer, he wanted to meet the judge. So he could not meet in the court, and judge told him, you come to my home. So he was waiting outside the door of the judge. So and he was waiting, and then the doorkeeper says that judge is quite busy. He is very busy now, he can't meet you. You wait here. So he was waiting few years passed, still judge is busy. And he thought, what is judge doing? And he saw from the window of his door, the judge became horse, and his grandson is riding on his back. And grandfather, go here, go there, move here, move there. And then lawyer found, this is your business. So that is, Krishna, when Supreme Lord, he is at home, he is Krishna. And when he is in office, then he is Vishnu. And not only that, Krishna loves when he is at home. You see, if you are asked to meet someone, to make an appointment with someone, where will you meet? In office or at home? Office? At home, Isn't it? So that you can sit frankly, you can sit closely, and it will not be official relationship. It will be very personal. There will be personal reciprocation. Even says that in Vrindavan, the Sakha skande kare arohan. The friends of Krishna, they climbed on the shoulder of Krishna. If you ask, can anyone climb on the back of deities? It's not possible. And they say, no, Krishna, you are not big. I am big. Therefore you have to take me on your shoulder. So that is the beautiful relation. But in Prabhupada is saying in Vaikuntha, everyone has four-armed form. Therefore, you can't distinguish between Vishnu and the four-armed Vishnu Dutas. Even Madhumangal, he says, when Krishna, after lifting, I think Govardhan, or after killing Kaliya, I think Govardhana, and everyone, all the Brajavasis, they were praising Krishna. Krishna, because of you, we are saved every time, we are protected. And then they are having a picnic party, and Madhumangal says, no, Krishna, we are doing everything and you are getting the credit. It's because of us, everything you are doing. But now you are getting the credit. And Krishna says, okay, is it so? Tell me what you did for me. He says, when Kaliya Nag, the Kaliya serpent attacked you, and we saw how precarious your situation was. You are almost entangled on the coil of Kaliya Nag. You are about to die. And do you know how you are saved? Because now I was at that time chanting Sarpa Nidan mantra. So that you can get protection from snakes. It's because of me. Now you are getting the credit. And then in Govardhan, when you lifted Govardhan, your finger were almost breaking. And I took all the Brajavasis, we went to bamboo and we hold the Govardhan. Now you are getting all the credit. So anyway, so that is, beautiful relationship in Vrindavan. Even Krishna says, that that says when the gopis of Vrindavan karai bhartsan Veda stuti hote mor sheo hareman. He says, priya jadi man kari karai varsan. When the gopis of Vrindavan, they out of their angry mood, when they chastise Krishna, you are rascal, you are a lumpat, you are useless Krishna. And Krishna is saying, Veda stuti haite sheo haremarmon. That appears even sweeter than the beautiful hymns of Vedas. So that is the difference between Vaikuntha and Vrindavan. So therefore, when these two doormen, these four Kumaras, they went to meet Lord Vishnu, and they crossed, after crossing 6 entrances of Vaikuntha, they arrived in front of 7th gate, and they saw these two doormen, Jai and Vijay, and they were garlanded with fresh flowers, and that flowers, that garland were attracting even bumblebees, intoxicated bumblebees. Today is also disappearance day of Vrindavan Das Thakur. Vrindavan Das Thakur, he is incarnation of Vyasadeva in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's first time, and his mother was Narayani, who got the remnants of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When she was a 4-year-old boy, she was Srivas Thakur's family, and she got a special remnants of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And therefore, since she took the remnants of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that remnants went inside her womb, and that's how Vrindavan Das Thakur came. So Vrindavan Das Thakur is kind of mercy, incarnation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Also incarnation of Vyasadeva in Kali Yuga. So he wrote Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's most authentic biography, that is Chaitanya Bhagavat. It was earlier actually Chaitanya Mangal. So he wrote, Chaitanya, he collected, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's first times from different devotees, 6 Goswamis and others, and he compiled that book, Chaitanya Mangal. And in some other place, Lochan Das Thakur, he also compiled Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's first time from the diary of Sarup Damodar Goswami, and he also named it Chaitanya Mangal. That by reading Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's first time, we can bring auspiciousness in our life. But when both the title became same, Chaitanya Mangal, so he changed the name Chaitanya Bhagavat. Chaitanya Lilar Vyas Dasa Vrindavan. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami wrote. So in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's first time, Vyasadeva is actually Vrindavan Das Thakur. So therefore Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he says, he's the biography of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu compiled by Vyasadeva or Vrindavan Das Thakur, that is most authentic. Therefore Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he never touched any point, the point mentioned by Vrindavan Das Thakur in his book. Maybe briefly some points he touched. He never elaborated. He says it will be offense to Vrindavan Das Thakur because he is the first compiler of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first time. And there was a once there was a Chaitanya Bhagavat Katha in Mayapur. Like we have Bhagavat, daily Srimad Bhagavat, and this is Krishna Bhagavat. This is Krishna Bhagavat, So, because it glorifies Krishna's first times, mainly in 10th canto. But we have Chaitanya Bhagavat, So, like Shukdev Goswami, he, narrated Krishna Bhagavat to Parikshit Maharaj. So, there was a place in Mayapur, if you go, it's called Namisharan. So, there is Namisharana there. So, then they organized Chaitanya Bhagavat Katha in Mayapur. So, all the great demigods, they were invited on that program, Chaitanya Bhagavat Katha. So all the demigods, they were invited, Brahma, Shiv, Ganesh, Indra, everyone, they are preparing to go to the Chaitanya Bhagavat Katha. So Brahma, was getting ready to go to attend Chaitanya Bhagavat Katha. But Shiva, Lord Shiva, he got little late to get fresh and get ready. Lord Shiva, he got little delayed. So he says, now if I take my carrier What is the carrier of Lord Shiva? Bull. And the carrier of Brahma? Swan. So he says, if I take my Nandi, my bull, Nandi is very slow. And in 2G speed, I can't reach Chaitanya Bhagavat, but I want to reach in Bhagavatam class on time. So then he went to Brahma. Brahma is his father. He said, my dear father, give me a favor. Can we exchange our career for today? You take my bull and give me a swan. Brahma says, since I am father, what can be done? Father, I have to sometimes tolerate. So Lord Shiva took the swan, the carrier of Brahma, and he exactly came on time before Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And he attended. So when Brahma is coming slowly, by Nandi he came late. So Lord Shiva was so sincere, he wanted to attend that Chaitanya Bhagavat Katha. So that's why another name of Lord Shiva is Hamsa Bahan Mahadev. So he ride on the back of swan. The temple is still there. Vishwakarma made the deity. Very small deity. Hums, the swan, and on top Lord Shiva is riding. He is so desperate, so eager to listen Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Katha. So that was Chaitanya Bhagavat written by Vrindavan Das Thakur, and he was especially Vrindavan Das Thakur's, one of his statement was very important. Vrindavan Das Thakur, he was very critical to the offenders, those who commits Vaishnava offense. So he wrote, he says, Ato parihareo je papi ninda kare, tabe lathi marutar, shire ro upare. He says, after glorifying the Vaishnavas, he says, even after hearing so much glories of Vaishnavas, those who are still criticizing Vaishnavas, finding fault in Vaishnavas, and they are blaspheming Vaishnavas, even after hearing the glories of Vaishnavas. And he says that, then I will kick him in his head. Vrindavan Das Thakur says, and he says, Tave lathi marutar shiriru pare. Even after hearing the glories of Vaishnavas, he is telling us, so many times we heard the glories of Vaishnavas, but every time we criticize, we blaspheme Vaishnavas, we find fault in Vaishnavas. He says, I kick them on their head. Now see, he made this wonderful statement. He says, the Vaishnava aparadhis, the offenders, they will never be delivered. They will never get, deliverance. It's not possible for them because they are offender. But indirectly he is giving his mercy. Is that it? He is saying, even after hearing the glories of Vaishnavas, if someone, continues Vaishnava offense, then I will kick them on their head. So that means indirectly he is giving his mercy, is not it? By placing his feet on the head of offenders. So therefore our acharyas commented on this Vrindavan Das Thakur's statement that the great devotees like Vrindavan Das Thakur, even they are merciful to the offenders. They want to kick them out, but indirectly, through kicking, they are giving their mercy. Just like Nityananda Prabhu kicked Shivananda Sen. He got very angry, but he kicked, indirectly he gave his mercy to Shivananda Sen. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki, Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur ki, Gaur Premanande Hari Hari. Any question? Yes, Prabhu. Yes.
How is it possible in spiritual world? How do they possess these characteristics? I mean, is it by default the characteristic of any sacred beings?
It's, their eyes are not originally reddish, but because they got angry, agitated when they saw these four Kumaras, that's why it became reddish. When we get angry with someone, our eyes, turns into reddish color. That's what, So it's coming, upcoming verses. That's why, we didn't discuss today. But, it says, it was, not from Jai Vijay's position, if you see the previous Acharya's commentary, it's actually Krishna's arrangement. Krishna wanted to, enjoy the beer rush. So that's why Krishna made them, both of them, fall down from the spiritual world, so that Krishna can fight with them. So we'll discuss, tomorrow, day after tomorrow, that point, why they got angry. Of course, you can say, as a gatekeeper, that was their duty. They're assigned to protect, so that no one can enter. But at the same time, from their side, they made some mistakes. Okay?
How did they transcend like the 6 gates? I mean, is there no security guards in the 6 gates? And they were only stopped at the 7th gate?
No. The security guard was only on 7th gate, the final gate. We'll discuss, because tomorrow in the purport and tomorrow, day after tomorrow, the next verse, Prabhupada explained those. Yes. But it says, I think, on this section, Jiva Goswami commented, there is no fall down from the spiritual world. So it's not exactly fall down. But, they came to assist Krishna's first time. But, there are a lot of lessons we can learn from that, the interaction between, 4 Kumaras and Jai and Vijay. Okay?
During Vrindavan Das Thakur, I heard that he's the last disciple of Nityananda. So, how was the initiation ceremony conducted of Parvati?
See, earlier, previously initiation means second initiation. It was not, first initiation is not considered initiation. Second initiation is the main initiation. The Guru gives mantra to the ears of his spiritual, to the disciple. Because that is secret mantra Guru gives to disciples. But this was, started, if I am not wrong, I think, Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur, this, Harinam Diksha. Because it's not Diksha, because Harinam we are doing anyway, before an initiation also. Isn't it? So Diksha means something new. The mantra gives, Guru gives mantra to the ears of disciple. Just like, Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur got that mantra from Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. So till that time it was, Gayatri Diksha. He was kind of Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur. He wanted to take initiation. Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj refused to give him initiation. 2-3 times he requested. And then he agreed to give him initiation. So he gave mantra to his ears. But after that, because that time when people were exalted, now because of the degradation of Kali Yuga, so they are not chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra properly. That's why he initiated this, started this. That so that when they take formally, the chanting, be it from a spiritual master, they take, accept Hare Krishna Mahamantra formally, they will give proper importance. Otherwise, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made it free for everyone. Diksha Parocharya Vidhi Upeksha na kare. Jibhare Sparshe Achandale Savare Uddhare. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself is saying this. There is no need of Diksha. Diksha Parocharya Vidhi. No need to follow any rules and regulations. Simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord. Achandale Savare Uddhare. Even the low class man, the dog eaters, they will also be delivered. They don't need Diksha. So definitely that function was not there. So no diction, no function. But they used to give mantra. I don't know, but I think Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur, when he initiated Prabhupada, that time there was function. From him, because it became institutionalized, Gaudiya what he established. Earlier it was Guru and disciple Gurukul system. It wasn't like so formal, you have to do everything formal. But that was there, or maybe I'm not sure fire sacrifice was there or not for after that, second initiation. Okay.
Just following, you mentioned about Vrindavan Das Thakur being the Vedavyasa of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I heard that I read somewhere that Vedavyasa is still living in Himalayas. So when a personality is existing, is it possible for them to incarnate as
Yeah.